А сейчас добро пожаловать в золотой угол ринга его соперник, действующий чемпион мира из Серпухова, Россия, Muslim GADGIMAGOMEDOV!
Here comes GADGIMAGOMEDOV. Won the title in Serpukhov back in July with a fourth-round stoppage of Xiaojing Zhang. Zhang, who had got that fight off the back of a massive win for him in Russia against Evgeny Romanov. On the night against GADGIMAGOMEDOV, he was very brave, but the referee stopped it in the fourth round because GADGIMAGOMEDOV was just relentlessly clipping Zhang. It was quite something to see. You did wonder whether GADGIMAGOMEDOV might need to just rein back at one point, because it didn't look like Zhang was going anywhere, but he just wasn't offering enough going the other way, and the referee, I think, did the right thing in stopping it. I've never really seen anyone fight like Xiaojing Zhang. He does just block punches with his face. GADGIMAGOMEDOV, a supersonic amateur, two-time IBA World champion, Olympic silver medalist.
Итак, дамы и господа, нас ожидает главное событие вечера. 12-раундовый поединок за титул чемпиона мира WBA в Бриджер-вейте. Поединок санкционирован Всемирной боксерской ассоциацией WBA. Супервайзер Лаутаро Морено, Аргентина. Супервайзер Федерации бокса России Сергей Хурсанов. Судьи в рингсайде Густаво Падилья, Сильвестре Абаинза и Рикардо Дункан. Рефери в ринге Сальвадор Сальва, Испания. Итак, представляю участников этого боя и первым боксера, стоящего слева от меня в черном углу ринга. Он претендент. Ему 36 лет, его рост 180 сантиметров, официальный вес 98,5 килограмма. Он представляет Билефельд, Германия. Его рекорд насчитывает 28 поединков, 22 победы, 5 поражений при одной ничьей, 13 побед нокаутом. Экс-чемпион IBA и WBA Continental, экс-чемпион Европы WBO в тяжелом весе, претендент на титул чемпиона мира из Германии Леон HARTH. Его сопернику напротив в золотом углу ринга 27 лет. Его рост 192 сантиметра, а вес 99,2 килограмма. Его рекорд насчитывает 4 поединка. Во всех одержаны победы, 3 из них нокаутом. Четырехкратный чемпион России, чемпион Европы, двукратный чемпион мира, финалист Олимпийских игр, действующий чемпион мира по версии WBA из Серпухова, Россия, Muslim GADGIMAGOMEDOV!
GADGIMAGOMEDOV 4-0 as a pro. First three at cruiserweight, they're moving up to bridgerweight. Was always going to look to move quick after the amateur career that he had.
Is he ready?
That's him there. When he won that title in Serpukhov, he was rushed straight out of the ring by IBA President Umar Kremlev to an awaiting car, which he then presented to him as a gift, gave him the keys and encouraged him to get straight in and drive off.
Nice to meet you. Yes, I'm
Beterbiev
Leon.
watching on from ringside.
Notice.
Who looks a bit nervous, but that's no bad thing. Just have to be able to harness those nerves. He's been around for a long time. He shouldn't have too much problem doing that. He's boxed at light heavy
Remember what I told you in the dressing room, okay?
As well as cruiserweight. So
So
as I mentioned, it is a bit of a leap for him stepping up to
Good luck.
Bridgerweight, but you go where the opportunities are. It's as simple as that. And in terms of the weight, he has packed a bit on since last time. But having said that, I don't think it's necessarily solid muscle mass. And you look at the difference between them. Physically, GADGIMAGOMEDOV is tall and lean, Harth shorter, with a more solid kind of build on him. As I mentioned, that fight against Xiaojing Zhang was kind of amazing to watch, really, because Zhang gets hit an unbelievable amount, but he was just able to still take the punches and take the punches, and he has that kind of robbery style where he looks like he might be about to unravel, and then you realise that actually he isn't. It's just the way his body moves, but referee Roberto Ramirez decided that the traffic was just too one-way and stopped the fight. The WBC Bridgerweight champion was Lawrence Okoli, but he's vacated actually to move up to heavyweight. Kevin Lerena of South Africa was the interim champion and was mandatory for Okoli, so he may well get promoted to full champion. Good fighter. Saw him in Saudi Arabia earlier in the year, boxing just a matter of days after his mother had passed away after a short and unexpected illness, so a devastating thing for him, really, but he still got in there in the ring on the night against Justice Hooney and put up a really good performance, almost won in the final round, and won a lot of admirers that night too, so the winner of this up against him would be a really good fight. If indeed he gets promoted to full champion by the WBC. That's a long way down the track yet. GADGIMAGOMEDOV looking to try and work that lead hand. He can keep this on the outside. He's got the tools. Harth will look to keep that guard high, move that head, move those shoulders, try and get inside that reach and onto the inside. That's what he needs to do. Final few seconds of round one. GADGIMAGOMEDOV just controlling that round with the jab for the most part.
Секунданты за ринг. Seconds out.
Muslim. Leon.
Второй раунд.
Box.
Into the second, and again GADGIMAGOMEDOV just maintaining that gap, using that jab. Just dipped his knee to look to try and get a bit lower there, Harth, and weave his way in. But he may need 2 phases of attack. Got onto the inside there and couldn't quite let his hands go. Getting a little bit closer here, the German fighter. GADGIMAGOMEDOV, though, won't necessarily be upset about that. Good use of that lead hand again there, just bearing it up into the stomach, up to the head, then back down again. He's moving that head half, but he really needs to do that as he's coming forward. Slipping punches as you come forward is a hard thing to do, but if you're going to get into range, that's what he needs to be able to do.
Like the head, Leon.
GADGIMAGOMEDOV just doing what he needs to do at the moment. He can bank rounds boxing like this. And if in the later rounds half begins to get to him in the second half of the fight, maybe then he needs to hold his feet and fight up close a little bit more, then he's got that cushion. If he's got a good cushion heading into the later stages and he decides he wants to bring his feet in a bit closer and give himself more opportunities to land solid shots, then again he's got those rounds in the back. Nice 1-2 there from GADGIMAGOMEDOV. Right into the body, then a right hand lead. Half just gets kind of under the shoulder with that jab.
Ten seconds.
He has to stick to the task here, Harth. Try and stay tight, stay low, compact, dip his knees, move his head, and work hard to get onto the inside. But once he gets there, he's got to let his hands go. Cannot miss any opportunities.
Seconds out. Muslim. Muslim.
Третий раунд.
Good left hand there from Harth. I don't think he got through absolutely clean, but that's what he needs more of. He was close enough there and he exploded up and through it. And he's just trying to just close that gap a little bit more here. GADGIMAGOMEDOV just working those hands. And already really has just put Harth back in his box exactly. Harth just comes forward there and looks to throw, and he will leave himself a little bit more open as he tries to do that, but that is what he has to try and do, because otherwise he will just keep dropping rounds if he allows GADGIMAGOMEDOV to keep it at this distance, to keep it at this range. He's got to try and disrupt that rhythm, that flow.
No fight. No fight. Like the head. Okay, box.
There's the use of the jab. He just goes up and down with it. GADGIMAGOMEDOV doesn't travel all that far. He holds that lead hand out sometimes quite a long way, so that jab can be quite short. He'll lengthen up the distance it travels. That's what makes for a clever fighter. Sometimes he'll throw it from nearer the waist, sometimes his hands are up and he'll throw it from shoulder height. So sometimes it bursts into the eye line, sometimes you're seeing it come for longer. That different trajectory cause problems. But Harth definitely making an effort here in this third round to just pull his way onto the inside, but GADGIMAGOMEDOV just catches him with the right hand there. Looks for a long uppercut. Good use of the left hand, left hook there from GADGIMAGOMEDOV, a couple of them in quick succession. And he is leaving himself more open here, Harth, as he tries to be more ambitious, but that's just what he has to do. There's not really any other way here for him if he wants to try and win this fight, which of course he does. As he threw that right hand, he then got picked off by GADGIMAGOMEDOV. And he's got to try and just bring some heat here, Harth, put some pressure on GADGIMAGOMEDOV, back himself to soak up what he does get hit with, trusting that he'll be able to get to his man and that GADGIMAGOMEDOV might tire, but at the minute, the Russian is boxing with good economy.
Почувствовал его, можно справа поймать, пока вы слева, пока вы печень, можно пробовать сейчас. Вторым, третьим ударом. Опять.
Nice 1-2 there from GADGIMAGOMEDOV.
Seconds out.
He's won those first 3 rounds.
Четвертый раунд.
And this is a really good platform and stage for these fighters. You look at this arena, it's very well set up. There's a good crowd in. There has been from quite early in the night. Albert Batagaziev to come. I know they were hoping to try and get that fight against Lamont Roach for the WBA super featherweight title. Lamont Roach, though, is fighting Gervonta Davis in mid-December, for which you cannot blame him. That's one of the biggest fights in world boxing. Looking for that long right uppercut there, GADGIMAGOMEDOV. Trying to get Harth where he wants him with the jab and then whip that underneath. Decent left hand there from Harth. Jab was maybe just a little bit slow from GADGIMAGOMEDOV, came back low and he exploded with that left hook, and a couple of times that's almost worked for him. Eating a couple of jabs there, Harth, but he's sticking to it here, and this is what he has to do. There's no easy way to do this for him. It rarely is at this level, of course, but given the two styles and given how technically proficient GADGIMAGOMEDOV is, he's always going to have to walk through a few. He could try the uppercut himself at times, because one thing GADGIMAGOMEDOV does do a bit is lean in with the jab every now and again. When he gets a bit too confident with that jab, he leans in with it, looking for that long uppercut again there. Flicking with the right hand lead there, GADGIMAGOMEDOV. just using that kind of inner clock face. Harth taking the centre. And he's struggling to cut the ring off for GADGIMAGOMEDOV, Leon Harth. That's one of the problems that he has.
10 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Komm, Nase ein, Mund aus. Tief atmen. Ja, merkst du das? Ich darf sie nicht lassen nach der ersten Hand. Du musst eingehalten. Komm. Hörst du, was ich dir sage? Aktivität, mehr Aktivität, mein Junge. Ansonsten gut aus der sicheren Deckung. Und wenn du slippst und reingehst, passiert nichts. Ja? Du musst dich mit voller Kraft rein, aber um ihn zu kreuzen, müssen wir nah dran sein, sonst springt er zurück. Ja? Leon, einen Gang höher jetzt, okay? Einen Gang höher, jetzt kommt Runde 5. Tief atmen. Du hast genug Luft, meine Junge.
Okay, seconds out.
Mehr Aktivität.
Seconds out.
Mehr Aktivität.
Секундный заряд. Пятый раунд.
In that Leon Harth corner, they're just trying to give him a real G up there, basically, is how we would describe it in the UK, to really encourage him to just keep bringing the heat, keep those energy levels high, just keep him believing that he can find a way into this fight, because the round's slipping by at the minute. He hasn't got on the board yet, but he does have some weapons. Flicks out that left hand there, and it travels further than you think it's going to, and it's got some snap on it. Just needs to commit a little bit more. It's easy to say, sitting at ringside. He's the one in there against a very skilled technician in GADGIMAGOMEDOV. He catches him with a long right uppercut and then curls one in around the back of the guard with the same hand. But he has to just take a few more risks. As he came forward there, he could maybe have let that left hand go. I said earlier, it might take 2 phases of attack. Push him back with one, push him back with another one. He needs to try and get him back onto the ropes where he's got nowhere to go, really, GADGIMAGOMEDOV. But it is easier said than done. I'm painfully aware of that. Right hand from GADGIMAGOMEDOV. Looked like it did move Harth a little bit. Again, round the back of that glove. He's got that high guard, left to the body, then goes upstairs. GADGIMAGOMEDOV just clicking through the gears a bit here in round 5. Working around that front foot. He's going after his man here as we head towards the final minute of the round.
Stop, no fight, no fight. Muslim, turn up. Box.
Let's go with the left hand there, Harth, and he is looking to take a few risks here, and as he does, he walks onto a 1-2, and that's the problem for him. That is the problem for him. Left hand again there from GADGIMAGOMEDOV. Long right hand. It looked like he was going to go with the left to the body. He didn't, and then just threw that flat right hand. And he's warming to this now, GADGIMAGOMEDOV. He's built into the fight, and I think now he's going to really look to stick the heat on Leon Harth. He did in that round, particularly in the second half of it. This is difficult for the German, it really is, and GADGIMAGOMEDOV is looking good in there. He's been training in Dagestan with his coach Rashid Bek Akhmedov.
Московской области, Татарстане и Башкортостане.
Everything has gone well in camp. Fighters always say that, but you see the evidence on fight night, and he looks in good shape. He really does. In good order.
Seconds out.
Seconds out. Muslim. Leon.
Шестой раунд.
Box.
Into the sixth. And I wonder, will GADGIMAGOMEDOV just look to raise that temperature a little bit further, just pumping out the jab. Good, solid jabs at the start of the round. Jabbing to the body, keeping Harth occupied, and then finds a route through the gloves to the head. Not too much has happened for Leon Harth to encourage him in this fight so far, and we're approaching the halfway stage. If things keep going as they are, then he'll be 6 rounds down through 6. There's the uppercut, and that combination is so effective. Jab followed by the uppercut, landed in rapid succession. A jab thrown from shoulder height, and then the uppercut whipped up from underneath. Variation on the 1-2 I described earlier, where you've got a jab exploding from the waist and then a straight right hand coming from the shoulder. Those different trajectories make things hard. Left to the body and then switches up to the head here, GADGIMAGOMEDOV. I think that's Igor Makontsev in the background there with the glasses on. Russian former Olympic gold medalist. I say former Olympic gold medalist, there's no such thing as a former Olympic gold medalist. You either are or you aren't, and you hold that accolade for the rest of your days. Right-handed to the body, stepping into these shots now, GADGIMAGOMEDOV. Harth tries to get onto the inside and let that right hand go, but by the time he pulled the trigger on it, GADGIMAGOMEDOV had slid off to his left.
10 seconds.
The question here really is whether the Russian can get the stoppage in the second half of the fight. I just do not see him blowing a gasket. It's always possible that Harth could land something. He needs to put some kind of dent in his opponent. But I think what we're looking at more here is whether the home fighter is able to get the win inside the distance or not.
Bist du feste. Vorne bleiben, mein Junge. Merkst du nicht, dass wenn du vorne bist, ja, dass er Schwierigkeiten hat? Merkst du das? Leon. Nee, Leon, er hat weniger Luft als du. Du musst das nutzen. Und wenn er schlägt, wir wissen, dass er diese Schläge macht. Leon, dann schlag mit rechts. Auf die Brust, Leon. Auch auf die Brust zielen. Und wenn du drinnen bist, arbeite. Lass den Kopf hoch.
Секунданты за ринг. Seconds out. Седьмой раунд.
And the tone from the corner has been the same, really, for Harth. Pretty much from the start of the fight, they're just trying to, I think, get him to work harder, believe a little bit more, but he's an experienced guy and he knows what he's got in front of him, and I think he's aware that the more he opens up, the more problems he's going to have. He nodded his head at the end there, but this is tough for him, and do wonder sometimes how much information fighters manage to absorb in that minute between rounds. By the time they've sat down and are really able to start listening, you're a good 10 seconds in. And then you have to get back off your stool 5 or so seconds before the end of that minute. So the trainer really has got about 40, 45 seconds to try and get through, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Trainers tell me you need to keep it simple. Often it might just be the last thing you say that will be the thing that sticks with them. It's that reach, that range that GADGIMAGOMEDOV is able to use to back Harth up. Again, just using that jab, pinning him in the corner. Flings in a left hook there, Harth, but it missed. And GADGIMAGOMEDOV picked him off.
Leon, ich steck dich, bleib vorne! Leon, bleib vorne! Eine Minute noch!
Good right hand there from GADGIMAGOMEDOV. That's worked well for him. Just off the straight, comes in round the back of the guard. Harth trying to throw that right hand, but that is the problem he's got. When he does try and open out, he leaves gaps, and GADGIMAGOMEDOV is good enough to find them. There's that right hand again. And once again, and the problem he's got, Harth, is with that tight guard, the bonus to that is that you will block a lot on the gloves. The downside to it is that you can't really see what's coming.
Секунданты за ринг. Seconds out.
Seconds out. Muslim. Leon.
8-й раунд.
You would hardly know that Ufa-Arena had been in such a good fight on Saturday. There's not really a mark on him. Into the 8th. And he'll be appreciating this play from GADGIMAGOMEDOV, I'm sure, who has boxed really well up until this point. And doesn't really need to do much more other than keep doing what he's doing. He's 7 rounds up. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Harth hasn't looked really hurt at any point. He's been caught clean with some good, solid punches, good, solid jab there. And he'll be nearing the point soon enough when he needs knockdowns, if not a knockout, and there's no real sign that that is going to come. But I'm sure that he will just stick to his task. Again, good use of the lead hand, nice double jab there from GADGIMAGOMEDOV, and once again He's showcasing the basics really well here. Classic case of a taller, rangier fighter with a superior reach up against a shorter fighter who's going to need to get inside that greater wingspan to get his own punches off. And what you want to see, really, if you're a kind of purist in that situation, is a taller fighter use that reach and keep it on the outside, and that's exactly what he's done. But he's now looking to open out a bit here. Harth comes back with a right hand. GADGIMAGOMEDOV taking a little bit of a risk here, stepping in, but not a wild one, I wouldn't say. I think he does want to put a little bit of a stamp on this, a flourish on this, and get the stoppage if he can.
Jetzt nur! Antworte! Wieder! Guck dich rum, Leon!
Leon, ahead. Okay.
Atme, Leon, komm!
Nicht umgestimmt werden. Ja? Wenn du mitschlägst, hast du Erfolg. Leon, spürst du das? Hörst du mich? Hörst du mich von hier? Ja? Wir müssen jetzt kämpfen zusammen. Hörst du? Reiß dich zusammen, Leon. Ja, wir müssen kämpfen, du musst vorne bleiben. Du musst in Kauf nehmen, auch mal eine zu kriegen. Das ist in Ordnung. Verstehst du? Nicht umgestimmt werden. Immer Blick beibehalten. Guck mal, Jab unten, Jab oben. Ja? Jab unten, Jab oben.
So 4 to go here. Albert Batagaziev still to come up against Helmut Pagana of the Philippines. Batagaziev defending his IBA 60-kilo world title. And we've also got another local fighter in Danis Gabdrafikov in action.
Sehr gut, Leon.
Und da musst du einen Schlag haben. Bleib oben.
Komm jetzt zu.
Du musst wieder nicht zurück. Aber nicht mal mit dem Wagen. Ihr seht das.
Again, there's that jab. Gets extension on it. And Harth has found it difficult to navigate a route past it from the beginning. Harth just continuing really to wait too long. You could say that he's been doing that from the start of the fight, but you can understand the reasons why. I've been outlining the reasons why. I wonder whether, as we get nearer and nearer the end, he will just go for broke because he'll know that he needs the knockout, or whether his mission now is to get through the 12 rounds. This is a world title fight and probably the last one that he will have the opportunity to take part in, so you would think that he will go for it, but he's the one in there, and if he suspects that he might get cleaned out himself if he opens out, he may decide against it.
Komm weiter, Leon! Geschossen! Schlag geschossen! Geschossen, jetzt du! Jetzt du!
There's that jab again, 2-3 jabs.
Komm, Leon! Komm, Leon, nach vorne! Schlag geschossen!
He's cruising here, GADGIMAGOMEDOV.
Schlag geschossen nach vorne! Jetzt du!
And he's conserved a bit of energy, I think, in this 9th round too, although just steps into a lovely 1-2 left uppercut there. Jab right hand. Long left uppercut as the bell goes at the end of another dominant 3 minutes for the Russian. And I think if you're in the half corner here, all you can do at this point is just try and tug on the heartstrings a bit, maybe. Just tell him, look, this is it now. You're not going to get this chance again. We're behind. We need a knockout. Just give it everything. Throw caution to the wind. Give it everything. This is it. I think that's what you have to say to him. And I think that's what they have been saying to him. And again, the tone is getting more and more urgent. That is, I'm sure, what they're expressing to him.
Seconds out.
Little bit of puffiness around the left eye there for Leon HARTH. Into the 10th. He's won every round so far, GADGIMAGOMEDOV. He's pretty much won every second of every round, to be honest. But a very good disciplined display from him against a fighter in HARTH who is quite one-dimensional, but GADGIMAGOMEDOV has never given him cause to feel any kind of optimism that the course of this fight might be about to change, or that he's capable of making it change. And that's a pretty dispiriting place to be if you're Leon HARTH. Slinging in that left hand again there. GADGIMAGOMEDOV just moving around the outside of the ring, picking his punches. And he's going to complete the 12 rounds here, I think, GADGIMAGOMEDOV, and that will be no bad thing because this is only his 4th professional fight.
Stop the fight. Let him go.
And it won't do him any harm at all to go the 12 for the first time, particularly at this higher weight. He was at cruiserweight for his first 3 fights, now at Bridget, and it does seem to really suit him. You look at him physically, you feel like he would be quite a small heavyweight, but 225 pounds looks absolutely perfect for him. There's that right hand again, and I think he may have just wobbled HARTH slightly with that one. Certainly caused him to take a little bit of a stagger step.
Leon, the head. Watch the head, okay? Don't look at me. 10 seconds. See it.
Секунданты за ринг.
Seconds out. Leon.
11-й раунд.
Box.
So into the 11th round. Muslim GADGIMAGOMEDOV in the purple, making a strong first defence of his WBA Bridgerweight title here so far. Leon Harth needs a knockout. He's lost every round so far. His second crack at this title. He boxed in the very first WBA Bridgerweight World title fight against Evgeny Tishchenko. Was stopped in 6 rounds. It was later changed to a no contest after Tishchenko tested positive. He's had another opportunity tonight, but has just found himself in with a fighter who is a level above him, and it happens. There's no shame in it. Just barreling forward there, Harth. Coming in a little bit low with the head. It's the jab that's been key for GADGIMAGOMEDOV. He's never neglected it. He's just kept pumping it out all night. He's kept Harth turning, kept him moving, kept him resetting. If you're Harth up against someone like GADGIMAGOMEDOV, what you want him to do is slow his feet down, get a little bit overconfident, look to try and take you on at close range, mid-range. Stop working around that front foot. Stand in front of you, basically, and fight your fight. And people do it sometimes. Against all advice and all common sense, it can happen. You can drag them into something, but he's never allowed that to happen. He's kept it at range, he's controlled the distance, and if you control the distance, then really you control the fight, and that's exactly what's happened. And this has been tough for Leon Harth. You can see that. You see him in the corner, they're breathing heavily, they're getting the end swell out, just trying to take a bit of puffiness down around that left eye. And again, the corner are just barking at him, just trying to summon up that big effort from him. And they've been doing that for a good few rounds. And it's just not happening for him. He doesn't quite have it in him at this level, Leon Harth, at 36 years old. And as I said earlier on, there's no shame in that. Sometimes you find yourself in there with someone who is better than you, and on this occasion, younger than you, fresher than you, more everything than you, to be honest. He's going to go the distance here, I'm pretty sure, Leon Harth, but he's lost every round. But maybe going the distance, completing that full 12 rounds, well, it is an achievement of sorts. But he needs a knockout. He needs something absolutely spectacular. Every now and again, he's managed to do that, which is just get low, come up, close enough and let his hands go, but he's not really landed clean on GADGIMAGOMEDOV at any point in the fight that I can recall. Good series of 1-2s there from GADGIMAGOMEDOV, and could follow it up here as he's got him back on the ropes. Works up and down with the jab. It's been a well-paced display, this from GADGIMAGOMEDOV. He has dictated the pace. At times, he's opted and looked to get after Leon HARTH. Mid-fight, I did think that he might be able to bring enough heat that HARTH might wilt, but GADGIMAGOMEDOV is the one in there. He obviously didn't really feel like that was the case, and I think he maybe took a couple of rounds off, 8 and 9, and then he's looking to try and finish really strong here again. But one of the only ways that this could have gone wrong for him would have been if he'd blown a gasket, and rather than just win the rounds by a decent margin, won rounds by a huge margin and emptied his tank. But he was never going to fall for that. That's a lovely right hand, a strong right hand. HARTH comes firing back. GADGIMAGOMEDOV just beckoned him in to stand his ground and fight, and the Russian has really looked to put on a show in this final round. I think he's going to run out of time, but it's been a good performance, a very, very dominant display. And he's just getting him going a little bit at the end, maybe. But he's going to see the fight out here, Leon HARTH. Here's the final bell. GADGIMAGOMEDOV raises his gloves. He's won that fight 120 points to 108. I don't see how you could give Leon HARTH any of those 12 rounds. And he did stand up to some pretty heavy punishment at times. But there was quite a big gulf in class between the two fighters. We suspected there might be. We suspected that there would be. And it proved to be the case. And so GADGIMAGOMEDOV has made a successful first defence. And after this, I think he'll be looking straight for that unification. The IBF and the WBO don't have Bridget world champions currently. The WBC have an interim champion in Kevin Lorraine, of their champion Lawrence Okoli has vacated. So Lorraine may well be elevated to full champion, in which case that would be the fight that GADGIMAGOMEDOV would look to go after. But that, for me, is a shutout in favour of the home fighter.
Добро пожаловать в ринг абсолютный чемпион мира в полутяжелом весе Артур Бетербиев.
And the now undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, Artur Beterbiev, being welcomed up into the ring to present the belt, maybe to give the belt back to GADGIMAGOMEDOV.
Дамы и господа, прежде чем мы узнаем имя победителя, Ваши аплодисменты обоим боксерам за этот яркий и потрясающий бой. Итак, дамы и господа, после 12 раундов бокса обратимся к судейским запискам. Все трое судей – Густаво Падилья, Рикардо Дункан и Сильвестре Абаинза – одинаково оценили этот бой – 120-108. Таким образом, единогласным решением судей победу одержал и остается не знающим поражений чемпионом мира WBA Muslim GADGIMAGOMEDOV.
So GADGIMAGOMEDOV is still the WBA Bridgerweight World Champion. For me, that was a shutout against Leon Harth.
And
it'll be very interesting to see what he does now